with the speakers, Catherine, Tim, Isabella, and me. And we can start with the introduction of the team here in the panel here. And thanks everyone for joining in. And yeah, I'll start by talking about what is Yuki. Yuki is a white label community platform for creators, brand, and businesses. We help companies, brands, and individuals set up their community directly on a website or an app and have discussions, polls, event there. Yeah. And yeah, so I think yeah, we can move to the next slide. So here's the introduction of our panel. Catherine is a content marketing manager at Colato. She's worked as freelance writer, editor, and a junior SEO manager and PR relation before joining in. And Isabella is a founder of Kim Hackers and is focused on building in AI and marketing in public space. Tim is the CEO of TaskDrive, has a passion for helping businesses grow, and he's been a CGO at startups, mentored founders as well, and worked at accelerators, given masterclass on growth, marketing, and leadership. And welcome everyone. Yeah, so just quick starting words from all of you on what got you into the marketing space, and what is your first impression in terms of the way we are seeing in the AI space with ChatGPT, now Bard, and other LLMs coming up. So I think Tim, you want to go first?
So why not? Hi, hello everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm actually at an airport between two flights in Athens. There was a change of flight sadly, so I'm not in the hotel relaxed. So I apologize about that, but if everybody can hear me well, that's going to be perfectly fine. So yeah, hi, I'm Tim. I'm the CEO of TaskDrive. What excites me about AI and marketing, I mean, I've had a 14, 15-year career in marketing before I became more in operations, and I don't want to say growth, because growth, I think it's a big part of marketing, or marketing is a part of growth. But even in operations and as a CEO now, I think what excites me really about ChatGPT or any type of AI, it's that it's actually not here to take our jobs. Because a lot of my people or of my team members and a lot of people always say, you know, it's going to take our job. It's not here to take your job if you know how to use it, right? So what excites me really is you get what you put in. You know, yesterday I had a webinar myself, and you can have a prompt that just says, you know, give me a LinkedIn post about the topic, or you can say, give me a LinkedIn post about this topic. Put these three insights inside. You know, mention this. I feel like this. Make it informal, make it friendly. If you give more input, you're gonna really get a good value out of it. And what excites me is that great marketing people like Catherine and Isabella here, you know, we're gonna use it at its full potential. You know, so I invite everybody else to use their full potential, and don't complain about it before you use it as full potential. That's something that I'd like to add before we start really diving deeper.
Absolutely. I think like any other technology, I think the adoption curve is important, and initially if you adopt it to serve your purpose, and it will actually multiply the output you get from the effort you're already doing. And yeah, I think Catherine can go next and talk about their sort of short brief journey sort of on marketing, and as well as talk about their experience with AI and ChatGPT.
Sure. Yes. So hi, I'm Catherine. I'm a marketing manager at Colato, which is an AI tool. So we actually use our self-hosted generative AI in our tool. So AI has been a big topic for us over the last few months. And for ChatGPT in terms of marketing, I definitely agree with Tim. It's definitely scary. I think the future is changing very quickly, but I think if you're really open to learning how to use it to your advantage and making it work for you. It can transform the way you do marketing. So yeah, I mean, it's really there to kind of take over those repetitive tasks, or just kind of give you that structure, that creative boost that you need when you're doing creative topics. So I think we're still kind of realizing its full potential, but it's definitely an exciting time. And I think it's not something to be afraid of, like Tim said, if you're open to learning.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great. I think adoption again is very important, and if you are there in the learning curve, you can utilize the sort of the tools that actually reduce your time to work or automate a lot of your work. So going towards Isabella, what are your thoughts in the AI space? And yeah, so it's your turn.
So first of all, I'm really grateful to be here. And hello everyone. Yeah, so my name is Isabella Bedoya. And my marketing background, I started in like 2018 or so. I started working with a lot of different companies, and I had the opportunity to work with a lot of Fortune 500 brands and help them with like their TikTok, YouTube, Instagram influencer campaigns and stuff like that. And it was a really amazing learning experience. And just recently, when I started playing around with like ChatGPT, prior to ChatGPT becoming like this big craze, I was already using AI for like content writing inspiration. And I'll make a note there, right? Because a lot of the people, they use ChatGPT to create content and copy and paste it. And I think that is like, you know, if there's one key takeaway or one suggestion I would make is to always, whatever ChatGPT puts out for content, to always, you know, make it your own, edit it, humanize it, because it's very, very, you know, generalized and robotic. But anyways, when I started using ChatGPT and I started even exploring more AI tools and stuff like that, it's been crazy because I have seen the impact that it's made, not just in my company, but also within my team, how we're able to like, you know, streamline a lot of the things that they have to do and make their jobs a lot easier as well. So I'm, like I said, I'm grateful to be here, and this is a really amazing topic to shine more light on.
Absolutely. I think ChatGPT has created a storm, especially in the content space, solving the blank page problem. Basically, you don't know where to start. It does give you a starting point to get started, and then sort of you can iterate towards it. And I absolutely agree with you that the output are sort of doesn't have the human touch in a way and doesn't look personalized. So I think we need to work towards it. But I think these are starting days. I'm really looking forward to what can happen in the sort of updates we have coming up from all these elements. So driving right into it. So let's talk about what is generative AI and and how can marketers sort of utilize sort of how it can help marketers sort of perform better, get more output with less effort, and also be more productive in a way. And yeah, I think we can start with Catherine first. Right? We can talk about how do you utilize generative AI for you, and how can marketers benefit with it.
Okay. So I'm not like the tech expert. I did interview our CTO for a blog recently about how generative AI works. So feel free to like read that if you want like an in-depth dive into the tech behind generative AI. But I can tell you how I use it as a marketer, like in terms of ChatGPT. And I think like going back to what Isabella said, she's definitely right. You can't just, you know, say, hey, write me a blog article about this topic and expect it to produce something amazing that you can just copy and paste and publish. Like, it's not going to work that way. You really have to, it works by like, it has all the storage of data, and it based like so I'm not going to do a great job of explaining this, but like it uses kind of pattern detection to kind of understand and analyze that information and then produces something new based on that understanding. So when you are prompting it, it's really important to be as specific and detailed as possible. So prompting AI when I'm using it to produce content can actually be really time consuming. I'm still kind of getting the hang of things, and I haven't gotten to the point where I can prompt it in 3 seconds and write a blog in less than 30 minutes. Like it's still taking me a while to produce quality content. And that's because you really have to make sure that you're like I said, being specific. So kind of giving it a role to play is really, like, this works really well. So if you are, let's say you're writing for, like, our audience is product managers. So if I want to write a blog targeted at product managers, I would want to write it as someone with that expertise. So maybe I would position ChatGPT as an expert product manager, and then like first I'd have it like give me an outline for a blog. So without like, because it also works, so it kind of finishes its own sentence. So it works by just like putting out a word, and then whatever makes the most sense following that word, it writes, if that makes any sense. I did a bad job of explaining that. But basically, the best way to kind of get a good piece of content out is if you first ask for the structure. So then it will give you like a structure of an article or a LinkedIn post or whatever. And then based on that, you can tweak that and then kind of have it expand on each section. And that's worked well for me. That works better than just expecting it to kind of produce something right off the bat. But yeah, that's just an example of how I would use it.
Got it. Yeah, I think prompting is really important right now with the models we have to make them understand what we are trying to get out of them and what we are talking about. If you can be specific, and we've seen a lot of prompts come around sort of talking about technology, science, coder, act like a product manager, XYZ, and they seem to sort of give a better output. If you tell, say, a ChatGPT to act like a particular professional. And yeah, so for this question, we're not going technically deeper into how generative AI works. So let's talk about how marketers are using sort of AI tools like ChatGPT and how it has changed their day-to-day work. Has it reduced their task to sort of create a blog? If you're using images in a way from Midjourney and all, has it reduced your time to create social media images? So and so forth. So I think, Isabella, if you want to go next and talk about it.
Sure, absolutely. So for anyone that has no idea what generative AI means, to start with, it's basically like AI that generates content, audios, video, images, text, whatever it is that you're wanting to use. And it's like what Catherine was saying, right? It's like having good prompts and being specific with the prompts. When it comes down to like just the prompt in itself, something that I've discovered that helps in making the prompts better is, first thing is being very specific with what you're asking for. A couple of tips, the first line should always be like giving it a role. So like act as a, I don't know, copywriter or like sales persuasion copywriter, and then giving it some sort of task. Depending on what you're doing and like, depending on like the tasks and like the things that you're asking it to do, if it's anything that has to do with like providing factual information, you also want to throw in like the keywords like do not hallucinate, because in the AI world, hallucinations is basically when it just starts coming up with random data, just whatever, fictional data. And the reason is because AI is like a prediction. ChatGPT in particular, it's like predicting what the response should be, right? It's from all of the data that it's learned, it's predicting what the output should be. So sometimes it just goes and starts creating things. It can be very, very helpful, and for marketers specifically, for anything that has to do with like customer research, audience persona, competitor research. You can even ask for it to do like like my personal favorite prompt is asking audience persona, and in audience persona asking it to provide the pain points, the benefits, the pain points, the desires, buy-in behaviors, and any other specific creators that they follow. And it's amazing because this is something that it would take, hours and hours and hours to come up with. But if you start with that prompt, then you can start, pulling out blog posts and content, video scripts, whatever it is, because now both you and ChatGPT know who you're targeting. So, yeah, that's, my 2 cents. I think that is, there's a lot of use cases, but that has been my favorite so far.
Got it. I think being specific and talking about the end user or the end customer or the user who's consuming the content and defining it through the language model or ChatGPT would work. And so Tim, your 2 cents on.
Well, I'm gonna make it cheeky. I just wrote exactly that to ChatGPT, to GPT-4. I said, explain generative AI to a 5-year-old, and it said, absolutely. So imagine you have a magical art box. This box has seen all the drawings and paintings in the world. Now, when you ask this box to create a new picture of a dinosaur or a fairy or even a rocket ship, it takes all the pictures it has seen before and makes a brand new one. It doesn't copy any of the old pictures, but it learns from them to make something new and unique just for you. This is kind of like what generative AI does. It learns from lots of information it has seen before to create new things when we ask it to. So I think that's the best explanation that we could get about it.
Yeah, I think especially to the one you mentioned, explaining something like a 5-year-old is one of the most used prompts about any things in technology, politics, history, etc. And is able to do a decent job in getting a good output on it. But quick question, anyone can jump in, three of you. How much time has it reduced specifically for you in creating particular content? If content is something you tried doing with ChatGPT versus
Massive, Ankur. I'm just gonna jump in there. The other day, I did the task for a colleague, right? For a marketing colleague. I'm the CEO, but I love to do ChatGPT stuff in marketing, right? And I still get involved there, And anytime anybody wants support, they're like, "Oh, Tim, can you come a second?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So we've done 11 email onboarding sequence, right? Of 11 email in about 2.5 hours. Okay, so that was 2 sessions actually. It was 2 sessions of an hour 15, an hour 15, or something like that. And normally that would have took us, to be honest, a week, right? It would have took a week drafting, a review process, looking back at it, and so on. But in 2 meetings, we were able to get 11 emails with all our features, and everything was we even had testimonials. We took a lot of copy from the website, by just copy and pasting a lot of our features, all the stuff that we've already created for the website. We were able to create an amazing 11 email sequence. This is I think an amazing time saver. I'll give another quick example. A task that it would take me about 4 hours to 5 hours. The other day it took me about 40 minutes. What was that task? It was preparing a plan for a new project. Right? Normally that would have took me 4 or 5 hours on Notion, designing documents and so on. I still did it on Notion. Did I use the Notion AI? No, I still use ChatGPT. I don't know why, but I'm still much more fan of ChatGPT. But I was able to copy and paste and find the information I wanted by talking to ChatGPT. And before I leave it to everybody else in here, the one thing that I say and I repeat, and I think people like this, so I'm going to say it here. ChatGPT is not here for a task. You should have a meeting with ChatGPT, right? You put a slot on your calendar. You say, I'm going to be 45 minutes with ChatGPT and I'm going to get this done. And if you have that meeting with it, you will get the results. But if you just wanted to do one task and you give it one task, you're going to get a mediocre task. You're going to get a mediocre answer. And then a lot of people, sadly, right, Isabella, they're going to go with that. They're going to publish that, but that's something that we should not do. Have that meeting with it. It's your assistant. It's not here to replace you. It's here to make you 5x and maybe even 10x.
Got it. I think being again specific and sort of being time bound with it, and trust me, especially for me, I use the session or the windows or the chat session in ChatGPT as particular functions. So if it is a social media post, it is in a particular window. If it is around content writing and in a particular topic, it's another session, because in a particular session it's able to ingest the data you're sharing, and you don't have to sort of explain it again and again. What kind of output you need. For people who run your company, finance can be a function, and you can talk about all the financial stuff in a particular chat window, and then sort of keep it updated with new content and output. That does help. And if you're into coding, a particular session or a particular session to build a particular program can be one of the windows. Yeah, I think any one of you, Catherine, Isabella, if you want to sort of quickly talk about how much has it reduced your task and reduced the time spent on a particular task.
Yeah, for me, I think the most impactful was, I mean, multiple times it's been game-changing, but the most, impactful has been when I did a virtual event launch for a client. Pretty much what that means is like let's say a 3-day boot camp, right? We were in charge of putting together the funnel, the landing pages, the email copy, the presentation slides, pretty much all of that. And in addition, also creating like the homework and creating, like all of the things, and also the Instagram carousels. And it's exactly what Tim said, right? It's like, it's a meeting. So this normally would have taken like 2-3 weeks to put all of this content together. Everything from like start to finish, building everything, putting it live, it took about 2, maybe 3 days max. And it was because we were able to, create all of this content at a greater scale, that all you have to do is kind of just like, tweak it, edit it, and then go ahead and build. Sometimes that can take a little bit longer as well. So yeah, it's been absolutely like revolutionary for us as well.
Got it. I think we've seen a massive reduction in the sort of effort required to get an output. I think the next question is, what are the key features in ChatGPT as a marketing? So we talked about blogging, the social media, emails in terms of text content. Anything else? Have you used ChatGPT for any other functions beyond these three for your marketing use case? I think case studies and other, in any particular sort of use case for you want to talk about? I think it's open up. Catherine, you want to go first?
Sure. One thing that I've used it for in the past, which has been really helpful, is creating brand style guides for content production. So by like feeding it pieces of writing or pieces of content from our brand, and then asking it to create a style guide from that in a way that AI can like understand and like I can use in future prompts. I've also found that super helpful. We've also done it with like other like personal brands or anything else. So like getting those specific style guides by like feeding it writing has worked really well for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these are very, very defined use cases where ChatGPT has a lot of is being able to enhance and produce better outputs. Tim, any function you thought which was beyond the one
I think I want to answer more Grace's question here if I can.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome question. Yes, it is not as helpful for market research. So because it has data until 2021 May, I think, and then now GPT-4 has till 2022 June, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. right? It's a little bit more recent. And of course, the market changes a lot, especially now that we're in a recession. There's COVID, like so many things change all the time. So, market research is going to be super generic, right? And I wouldn't use it to do the market research. I would use it for it to actually tell me how to do the market research, right? And it would tell me what to go and find and put it in there. So then I become the ChatGPT slave. ChatGPT is managing me, telling me how to do a task. Then it's awesome. The output is amazing. So I would use it that way, great. And for everybody else. But also, the good news is with the plugins that is coming, those days are going to be gone. Because with the plugins, you have live search, live crawling. If you do use AI PRM, it's a Chrome extension for ChatGPT. It does have live crawling. It crawls one URL. It doesn't crawl the Google search itself. But if you do have a URL where you have some market trends, insights, a report, or something like that, you can actually tell it to scrape it. And then the data, the output that you're going to get is going to be relevant to the data that you've input.
Yes, absolutely. I think Dave had a great question around the utility of ChatGPT in terms of research. I think Isabel has mentioned there are plugins like the browser plugins they have, which can sort of search on sort of Bing and give you an output. And now Bard is there. It's open up for 180 countries. It does give you real-time data if you search on Bard. Still, I think in early stages, and we need to check an output. Yeah. So, Isabella, any thoughts on this? For I think especially for marketing, any other capability you thought is relevant, or how do you better sort of utilize it?
Yeah, you can definitely ask it to like audit your what you're doing. So you could tell it to like analyze your, let's say you're running an ad campaign or something, you can tell it to like analyze your copy, what you're planning to do. Another thing that I've also tried and tested before is asking it to, for example, for like TikTok videos, you usually have to use like a hook, right? So something that's compelling for people to watch the video. And on ChatGPT, you can actually ask for like hook ideas, and you could also ask for it to rank it on from a 1 to 10. Which one does it, think it's gonna have the most viral potential? So you can use it for more like analysis kind of things and prediction. But again, it's AI. It's not going to be 100% accurate on the virality of what it is. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But it's nice to have that confirmation, right? When you're thinking about 10 ideas and then ChatGPT narrows it down to like the top 2 or 3, it's really good sounding board.
Yeah, I think optimizing your sort of output, and you can utilize ChatGPT in a way. And I've posted a link to people who've not tried the plugins. So we have a tool called Samurai, which can help you sort of have your own ChatGPT. It has AutoGPT. There are ways to create a bot for your own content and create memes and stuff like that. And yes, we launched it a couple of months ago on Prod, and now has close to 1 million visitors. And you can try it out, check out. We have around 6-7 plugins which are live there, and you can create your own plugin as well before the official launch is there. I think we move to the next slide.
I want to get a course from you on using your tool, Samurai AI. I was using it actually a couple of days ago. We'll talk about it not here, but I'd love to understand a little bit further.
Sure. So I've heard about this, that generative AI and content will impact the number of opportunities content creators have. Anecdotally heard about from companies that the number of content creators that they right now have is down by as much as 1/5 to get the same output. But what is your experience been in this? What does the future sort of tend to? Could we see less people working in content, or more spaces will emerge where people can create more content? Catherine,
have
you
a
want to go
lot
first?
of
Yeah.
I have this is like obviously like such a big topic right now, and I have a lot of like thoughts and feelings about this, because I think obviously we're gonna see this impact our field, and I think though, I mean, like we were kind of touching on earlier, if you know how to use it correctly and you don't, I mean, I think AI, or at least ChatGPT, it's not at the point where you can really get something super polished and publishable out of it right away. You still need to kind of have that, you need to kind of be the editor there, and you need to also have that creative thought of like what kind of content to produce, what's going to work well, what do people want to read about, what's helpful. But I also think what's going to change in the next several months is people are going to want to connect more with the content that they're consuming, and that means they want real people behind it. I think we're gonna, like, after Google I/O yesterday, we saw, I think in search, it's gonna continue to favor content with kind of a perspective and expertise behind it coming from a real person. And so I think if you have a unique perspective and you have something valuable to talk about and you have the experience there, then I think you don't need to be scared. I think if you're kind of producing these SEO articles which aren't really saying anything new and are just kind of regurgitating what's already available on the internet, then maybe you should start kind of rethinking the way you produce content. But yeah, I think that if you're a good content creator and I think you don't need to be worried. That's my opinion.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think people might need personalized content, but still I think we are seeing some movement in the space, and people are sort of the long tail content creators might have to switch to other tasks or sort of level up in the same field. Isabella, you want to take this? What are your thoughts? Will it impact the number of content creators, both in text and media?
Sure, yes. I think very similar to Catherine, I think that it's still going to require like domain expertise, right? So maybe not right away it'll start like replacing people and replacing jobs, but for the time being, I think it can help content creators become better creators because they have more ideas accessible to at their fingertips and stuff like that, and there's really no reason why they are not posting content or anything like that. Now, what I do also believe around this is that I really do believe that it's going to become more of a content curation. We're going to see a bigger wave in content curation over the next couple of years. And people, at the end of the day, people love to follow people. There are AI accounts that are growing just because it's like a novelty right now. For people to have like, artificial intelligence avatars, and then they're getting a lot of traction. I think Synthesia is doing one on TikTok, and it like absolutely blew up. So as long as you're able to, and Grace just said it here in the chat, so as long as you're able to provide credible content, and experience-based content, like that is the perfect wording, Grace. I think we'll still see opportunities for creators. I don't think they're going to be replaced anytime soon.
Yeah, I think as even in the chat, Grace is mentioning that the thought of Isabel and Catherine both is resonating with her, and storytelling would be the core for cultures. And there needs to be a credible and sort of experience-based content. But what do we do if AI has the same kind of experience? So and it has experience of more than one person. So I think so we'll have to find a balance between. So there might be this structure of content use might change, and the platform you're building it for might change, or creating it for might change. As search volumes go down, you might be creating content for platforms like ChatGPT. So SEO optimized, maybe ChatGPT is optimized.
Well, I'd like to add something there, Ankur, if you don't mind. I mean, my wife is the copywriter of Notion. She writes all the guides of Notion and so on. And when I was fiddling with ChatGPT in the beginning, I made fun of her. I said, "This is coming to take your job." I even asked ChatGPT to make some jokes between a copywriter and ChatGPT, and it is some hilarious jokes. I don't think the humor is great, but it was funny, right? Because the concept was funny. But then, she started to use it a couple of months ago herself. Does it help her? Yes, it helps her a lot, right? Is it going to take her job? Absolutely not. What it's going to do is, you guys kind of said it a little bit, maybe you were too nice, it's going to take the job of shitty copywriters, shitty content writers. Those people, sadly, are not going to be able to write anymore, right? Because ChatGPT already writes better than a lot of them, and I'll be honest here. Especially Copy AI, Jasper, all the tools that are actually trained just to do that. So I think that, again, it's an assistant. It's an assistant to my wife's job now. It's an assistant to me. I'm not a copywriter. I'm not a content writer. It's one of the things that I was always scared of in my life. But I write every day on LinkedIn. I write articles now. I was doing it a little bit anyways, but was I really good? No. Am I still good? No. But ChatGPT can help me really put my thoughts into a few words, into sentences, into paragraphs, and then I tell it, make it more conversational, make it more fun, and I'm directing that. So what I want to say here is, again, it's what we said in the beginning, and let's get back to that. It's, or you do it out of love, or you do it out of fear, okay? That's how you do something, or out of fear or out of love. A lot of people are fearing it, so they're like, oh, I need to get on the ChatGPT train. Those people are not going to go really well with ChatGPT, but the people that say, oh my God, this is great, this helps me so much, these people are going to shine, right? Because if you could write a blog post in 2 days, you can write it now in 6 hours.
Got it. So I think you have to be great at your work. So being average might I think ChatGPT should be able to replace you. I think that does make sense. And
sorry, one more thing I want to add, Anko.
Yeah, sure.
Just very quick, though. I promise everybody. It's the one thing that ChatGPT is not going to be able to do for very long, right? Until GPT maybe 65 or whatever, is to think outside the box, because it is a box. There's an input, there's a box, there's an algorithm, and there's an output. And as humans, we dream. We dream if you think about your dreams, you dream some crazy shit. We dream of things that we could never even thought that we could dream of. Right? And even ChatGPT's hallucinations are not these. They're not creative. They're not outside the box. They are on a model that it was trained. So until that day comes, which I think is very, very far, as a lot of our, Sam Altman, Elon Musk is a bit more worried, but it's very far. It's very, very far. Until that day, we're good. So don't be scared. Just use it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Sam Altman in one of the talks mentioned that ChatGPT isn't able to create, or GPT-4 isn't able to create new knowledge. It's able to find and find information from the current knowledge base. It's not able to create anything new. So, hence the difference with humans and our search for AGI continues. I think we'll move to the next question. Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of it in marketing. Has anyone had experience of leveraging AI in product development, and say it is writing code, building website, creating images through Midjourney, finding building or creating logos? So, Isabella, you want to go first and talk about any application of AI you've seen start to use in product development?
No, only day.
Sure, yes. I think we covered a little bit earlier on this as well, but basically, anything that you're working on, whether it's a product or you're creating a course or whatever it is, you can prompt ChatGPT to help you with it, right? You can ask for an outline, you can ask for ideas, you can ask for based on the specific audience persona that you created, you can ask what kind of stuff that they'd be interested in. A really popular one that people tend to write a lot about is books, right? Like there's AI generated books. I think there's some.
Why are you running sweatpants?
I think there's some noise. Please.
Okay, I think they muted. But yeah, I mean, it's any product that you're creating. You can use ChatGPT to help you create it, and then you can also ask it for help with creating the marketing plan that goes with it. But just remember this is, I think, where the last question, having domain expertise, comes in, because sure, it can tell you to create a marketing plan, but how do you know that marketing plan is actually going to be what you're looking for? So if you have that knowledge, if you have that expertise, you know whether it's being too generic or whether it's giving you like an actually good plan. So ultimately, it's what Tim was saying earlier as well, right? It's going to empower your team, but it's not necessarily going to replace your team, because you still need it to be a part of it. Yeah. It's more easier to do things, but you still need to have the previous knowledge to be able to accomplish it.
Got it. I think creating outlines, and then you need to have prior domain knowledge to validate the outputs. I think in any development you've seen in your company in power development in real life use cases, what is ChatGPT particularly, or any other AI platform being used at your workspace?
Maybe I can cheekily talk about Collado here, because we are a generative AI tool, and we're actually built specifically for product teams. So it kind of provides a central space for you to kind of drop all of your product information into one space, and then it uses AI to give you answers to any questions. So you can put in all of your PRDs or your release notes or whatever into a map, and then if someone from your team has a question and you're tired of answering the same question all the time on Slack, they can just ask it on Collado and it gives you an answer. But more specifically, we used it on the marketing team actually when we launched on Product Hunt. So we had kind of our knowledge map with all of our product information. We had blurbs for LinkedIn. We had like all of our copy guidelines, FAQs, all this stuff, so that when we launched and we were answering people's questions on Product Hunt, and like, let's say, for example, you don't really know, like if they say, hey, what's the biggest difference between Collado and this competitor? You can just search it quickly and then get an answer without having to ask anyone else or think about it. So that's how we are using generative AI at Collado with our own tool. A little bit cheeky, but yeah, that's a different example of ChatGPT.
Internal wiki and a sort of AI search on top of it is a great use case for teams, as they might be remote, or they want to search information quickly rather than having it in multiple places. You can drop it and in one place and give an ability to query across. Tim, yes, you have your hands up. Your take on
I always have something to say about it, so sorry about that. But I guess that's why I was invited as well. So the thing is that if you're a developer, and if you're coding and you're not using Copilot by GitHub or any of that kind of tools, you are an old developer and your job will be taken. But if you're a developer that uses the AI tools as well, you are now valued at a few developers, right? So if you start thinking it like that, before we would have a team of 50 developers to build a platform. Now with 5 developers, we can do the job of 50. This is how we need to start thinking, and some jobs are going to reduce, but new jobs are being created. There's a new job called AI operators. Right? Every company needs now AI operators. You have to start investing in this. Because if you don't, your competition will, and they're gonna have 10x the output that you have, and you might be double the human size, but they have really good prompts, they have really good AI tools, they've coded their custom models as well, and they're gonna take over. I guarantee you that.
God, I think anyone can become a terrace engineer with all the Copilot kind of tools and all these AI tools. And I think you can learn and work with these tools to get better outputs. And surely, newer jobs would emerge as all these companies are in the space. I think we can move to the next question. And in the chat window, I think Grace had a comment. Yeah, it's exciting time. Yes, Grace. It's truly exciting to be here. And I think a lot has come up in the last 3 months, especially last 3 months. It's been almost feels like years in the AI world. So with all these new developments, we have 2 models, weekly updates on the products. Everyone's working like a startup founder now. So even big companies are releasing updates. So check out Google. Every second sentence, Sundar Pichai talks about this AI now. And I think metaverse seems to be dying due to the AI race.
Well, he has to ride that curve because Google was late to the game, right? Or they had the game, but they didn't want to launch it. Now they're like, shit, we just have to talk about AI. They're freaking out, let's be honest. Yeah. When Bard came out, I tried it. It's like, forget about it. It has nothing close to ChatGPT, and then their development team is, 100x the size of the ChatGPT, the OpenAI team, but they were early to the game. And the models are getting better, faster, and it's training itself now. So of course Google has to push the boundaries now. But one thing that I loved, I think, was Sam Altman that said it. It said these big data, these big ones that we're building, these big GPT-4s and stuff like that, it's gonna die down because the cost it's a lot for what the value that you're getting. That now newer models are able to train itself on specific things as well, and much more niche, and that's going to be the usage of it. So every company is speaking about AI. Google was late. You all have to, so everybody here listening to us, watching us, you all have to start thinking about this in whatever industry you are in. In the medical, it's been there for years already.
Yeah.
In the industrial, it's been there years. Manufacturing has been there years. Industries that we don't think it's been there for multiple years.
Absolutely. I think the thing with Bard is I think they opened it up for everyone around 180 countries yesterday. It was a much better sort of output as compared to, I think, a couple of months ago when they launched Bard. And so we have open source models now which can be trained, say, sub $500, and they can give you output of around, which are closer to 90% of the output of ChatGPT. So the cost to run of running ChatGPT and a big language model for, say, Microsoft, they're trying to develop a chip for it to run, because the current costs a lot, and you have smaller models getting good output. So I think in a couple of years you'll have hardware which can run it on smaller machines, say even your phones or something like that on an edge device, and that should bring down the cost and provide access to all. And I think Catherine, Isabella, anyone who wants to dive in, how do you see AI, sort of all the creating AI ecosystem being developed in your company? So what all function would it sort of take over or assist in the company or a product?
I definitely think as an AI product, we're going to just make sure we're always on top of the latest technology here and keeping up with our learnings. In terms of marketing, I think we're definitely going to start seeing, we're going to start scaling up our use of AI for our campaigns, for more personalized messaging, for customer support. I definitely see that becoming a big part of our future marketing plans.
Got it. I think customer support is one which I think will benefit immensely with I think all the models. Isabella, you have any take? How do you want to sort of, what kind of functions you will see AI taking over in your company?
Yeah, I think AI is definitely going to be something that we continue using within our company in the next 3 or 5 years. I think in 3 or 5 years it's going to be like completely different than what it is now. It's going to be way more advanced. It's the development of it is happening like at lightning speed. It's really crazy. And I think, right now I know like the use cases that we have. It's hard to predict what use cases we'll be using it in 3 to 5 years, just because I don't know exactly where the technology will be. Right, that's what makes it a little challenging. But as of right now, like we use it for pretty much everything. Even something that's not marketing related, we use it for also like scheduling, right? Like prioritizing how we're going to tackle our jobs and our things during the day. So if you have, and I encourage anyone in here, the best way to start incorporating ChatGPT like now or AI tools in general into your life and business, I would encourage you to just start like every time you have a question that you ask yourself, like, what should I do now? Or like, what color should I, put as a background, whatever it is, just start asking ChatGPT. Just start, get in that habit, because once you start, it's kind of like building this like a little bit of a reliance on it, right? Once you start getting in the habit of asking it questions, you discover what AI can do for you, and everyone is going to have a different use case.
Absolutely, that does make a lot of sense, and employing it will reduce the workload on yourself and the team, and sort of it comes as a second function to you when you're thinking about stuff. I think we have to move to the next one. Quickly take that up. We'll have a couple of questions at the end. Yeah, I think this is what kind of workflow now you have for marketing. Has AI changed your product launch in any way? What is the workflow with ChatGPT in it? What is the workflow with Midjourney in it? So, for particularly a new product launch or marketing campaign that you're launching, do you use it for ads, creating the copy, and the images? Anyone wants to go first? I think Tim is in the thinking mode. You want to go first, Tim?
I let this question for Catherine and Isabella, but I'm just going to add one thing to the previous question very quickly, because I love what Catherine did about her product there, and I'm glad that she did, because her product is the topic as well. And, what we're doing at Task Drive is we're building these people for you. So I'm going to talk quickly about Task Drive. We are building AI operators now, right? We're going to call them AI VAs. They are your classical VAs, but they come with AI. They come with prompts that are custom made for your company, right? So that's how we're going to innovate, because, Ankur, you can use it, Catherine can use it, Isabella can use it, Grace possibly can use it, but there are so many people on this chat that might not be able to use it, or they use it a little bit and they don't get the most out of it, or they're very busy executives, but they want the AI, they want that. So we're building AI operators, and that's how 3 to 5 years, this is how we want to help you guys and everybody else out there by giving you trained AI operators to help you in your business.
Got it. Specific, dedicated VAs running on your content. Maybe companies would want their own models. They would use public models to sort of train on their data. Might be it's being said for last 5-10 years that data is the new oil. Might be the case now. And I think Catherine, any marketing workflow changes on your side for a launch now with ChatGPT?
I think we're definitely still like figuring that out, and I think Isabella had a good answer for this earlier too when she was talking about her workflow for her recent launch. So maybe she's better equipped to answer this question, because I don't know. I think I haven't fully figured this one out yet.
Sure. I think everyone wants Isabella's take on the workflow part. So
sure. basically, it's with any product launch or anything that you do that requires like marketing, typically you always want to start with like it's called, I think, psychographics, which is like the pain points or desires that the person that you're building this product for. So always, the first thing to start with is just that. What is that? Because once you understand the pain points, the emotional triggers, and all that, then you can build a proper campaign that's going to resonate. So in the prompt example that I gave earlier about like the audience persona, in there you can ask ChatGPT to tell you like which platforms it predicts that it's going to be more active on. So you can now pretty much, based off of those that analysis, you can start streamlining your decision, because a lot of the times when you're a startup and you have to go omni-channel, it becomes a huge headache. It's the resources aren't there. But if you know that you're targeting CEOs, you have a higher likelihood of being on LinkedIn, right? So you kind of have to, like, if you don't have this knowledge already, you can ask ChatGPT to like steer you in the right direction, and then from there it just becomes a matter of just creating content that resonates, content that it's helpful and useful. And this is one of the things that I have discovered also that makes a big difference. If the content is all about you and your product, it's not going to land well. But if you make the content useful content that your target audience can actually utilize and find insightful and stuff like that, they're going to share it, they're going to use it, and by default you're going to get a lot of traffic. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of people make. It's like all of a sudden it's like me, but it should be like, what's in it for my reader, what's in it for my subscriber. And when you flip that switch, the product launches are so much smoother, because all of a sudden you're building community. You're a valued leader, you're an authority figure, and you're not this like salesy person just trying to push a product onto you.
Got it. I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of defining the output, sort of outline of what you want to do, fixating on the persona of your end user, building the entire content around that, and sort of that opens up a lot of sort of new bridges for you in terms of the channels you want to promote in, and stuff like that. I think that's a great response from your side. Quickly, I think we are running out of time. Let's take up the last two questions. I think this has been already covered in terms of, let's talk about customer support. Have any one of you moved your entire customer support or part of the customer support into AI, on all these customer support spots which are powered by ChatGPT? Any
I personally haven't yet, Ankur, but we have a sister company that does outsource customer support, and there are going to be cases that humans still need it, but 99% of the cases nobody wants to wait for an answer. So connecting you to a customer support agent, talk to a human and wait, is not something we want. We want the answers right away, especially on simple things. Chatbots failed big time. If you guys remember, I'm sure you guys remember really well. In 2015, 2016, 2017, chatbots were super cool. HubSpot bought Motion AI. It was the craze and stuff like that. It failed big time because it was a logic 3, yes, no, and it was I don't understand what you're saying. Talk to a human. So those days can now be gone with ChatGPT. Especially I think it was Catherine that mentioned about your knowledge base. You feed your knowledge base, you feed all your knowledge base, all your documentation, right? And you can even feed your customer data in it, the invoices and the CRM and so on. You have the best agent at your hand that works 24/7, has no drama, doesn't get sick, doesn't want more money, just wants to work, right? So it's a no-brainer to start bringing customer support into AI.
Absolutely. I think bots which can train on your website content, your knowledge base, and release a bunch of tools to create that as well. and they are getting popular. And I see a lot of adoption in websites, and surely there would be a point a lot of people would move from the intercoms of the world or have integrations with intercom of ChatGPT. So the entire sort of virtual support might be powered by these LLMs. Quickly, Kathleen, Isabella, your sort of any experience in terms of customer support and the capability of ChatGPT in
there? We have not used ChatGPT in customer support yet. We still have a chatbot on our website. I think this is probably something we're going to look into in the near future, but yeah, no experience there yet.
Yeah, similar. I know a lot of companies are using it for customer support. I know there's companies that are also using AI for lead generation. I haven't fully dived into how it's being done exactly, but I know that there's companies already innovating in that space. And I have used it a little bit I have one of our funnels. We had a capability to put AI-powered bot. It was called like Eliza or something, and basically what it did is anyone that landed on the page on the website, it would immediately prompt it and ask, if to like book a call and kind of go through a few questions. But it was very, I'm still not decided how effective it has been, because I have had to like jump in a lot of the times to like course corrected or whatever the case is. But yeah, I do know that there's a lot of people already using it for those things. I just haven't fully explored it for that myself.
Got it. Yeah, I think we've tested it. It does a good job in terms of scraping a website content, knowledge base, articles, YouTube, videos, etc. I think we can take the next question, and we have a question in chat as well. From Michael, as a video creator, this is very useful to hear. I think this is a comment, and there are many video creating AI tools, but my clients don't necessarily want to learn how to use AI. So we are using it for them, and the benefit of them is more cost-effective content creation with experienced professionals polishing the AI outputs and inputs. Yeah, I think companies would drive adoption in a way. The end user wants a great output. So I think technology might be a way he would adopt a product for some time, but in the long term, it will depend on the output a product gives out. So creating a great sort of content in a way. So for video from an AI generated video, if it's better than a human generated video, do well. It won't be the case that just because of the AI generated video, people might be excited to test it out, but yeah, in the long term, I think the law of averages will come down. Yeah, I think lead generation, as we've already discussed, Isabella was mentioning that she would want to sort of use ChatGPT in terms of customer support and lead generation. Anyone of you seen any improvement in terms of email open rates, lead campaigns, CTRs? The kind of data I'm getting, it's sort of mixed, so there's no clear winner. So does AI content have a better click-through rate, or a AI and generated email have a better click-through rate? Tim, yeah.
Well, we're a lead generation company. We've been doing 5 years market research, lead generation, lead research. We call it more. We've been doing SDRs, real humans doing this job. Now we've doubled the output with half the people. We have seen much better open rates as well. And why? It's not because the AI or the ChatGPT creates new ones. Is we find from our data set, from everything we've done, we find the good ones. And we're like, okay, why are these good? Analyze this and understand why these are good and why these are bad. And then it tells you why one is good, one is bad. And then you can say, can you optimize this subject? And it will do that. So again, you do need a human to feed that, but your conversion rates can improve very, very drastically and very, very quickly.
Got it. I think, if I may ask, any percentage improvement in terms of sort of content from ChatGPT versus human content? Is it 10-15% or higher?
I think the question is wrong there, Ankur, I'm going to say, because it's a combination, right? Is it human, only human, or is it human and ChatGPT? Because if you say just ChatGPT, then it's shit.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's them together, then you can double your open rate in a lot of emails.
So human with ChatGPT, is it 30%?
I've seen 27, 30%, up to 35%, absolutely.
Wow.
But as again, in industry, contact data, who you're targeting, and so on. There's so many other variables in this question. But you can at least double it. You know, whatever you think, if you have never used a AI tool, by feeding the examples and by spending a little bit of time, you can double it.
You got it. That is actually, I didn't have any insight in this. The data I was getting is you can't pinpoint right now, but I think we have data from Tim, who's worked in the industry, that 30% or even double improvement is possible. Catherine, Isabella, do you have any sort of experience in sort of using ChatGPT and increasing your open rate, increasing your ad conversions in a way written from ChatGPT content or the image created by all the image tools?
Yeah, I think it's what Tim said, right? It's a combination of AI with a human. In my case in particular, I didn't send a lot of emails or anything like that, but I have been posting a lot on LinkedIn, and my content pretty much went up from, like, on average I was getting like 5,000 to 8,000 impressions per post. Now on average I get like 50,000 impressions plus per post. Just in like the last 6 weeks I've done like 2.3 million impressions. I went from like 15K a month to 50K a month, right? So it's like there is definitely something happening. It's hard to pinpoint and track, exactly what made the switch, but excuse me, but in that sense it has definitely been helping a lot with like LinkedIn growth, and it's not doing anything like spammy or salesy or anything like that. There are some tools, and I have yet to test them, but I'm really inclined to test this one. It's called 7 Sense, I think, and it can actually predict, like, if you send an email, it'll predict when to actually deliver it on the user side based on like the highest likelihood that user will be available to read your email. So I have yet to test it. I think you just have to use like HubSpot, which I use a different service, and that's what the delay has been. But yeah, I think it depends what your typical lead generation process is, and again, just figure out how you can integrate ChatGPT or AI into those processes to be able to help you create more opportunities for yourself.
Got it. I think that's a fabulous growth in terms of impressions on the platform. I think it allows you to create more content, more specific content. I think that might be one of the reasons why the outputs are better. Catherine, if you have any take, I think that will take the last question. I think we've already covered most of it, but say any experience in marketing function where your CTR has gone up, like social media, email, etc.
I was just going to say, I think like this is a little bit difficult to answer just because we don't know what the technology is going to look like in 5 years, and it's advancing so quickly. But just at the pace that it's at right now, I think it is. I mean, I mentioned this earlier, but I think it is going to kind of change the way that we consume content and the way we kind of interact online. I mean, in terms of shopping, I think we're going to see, like, with Google's AI search, like, there's definitely going to be some changes there. The way people shop online is going to be impacted there. But I think, like I mentioned earlier, people are still going to want to connect more with that more human type of content. So, I mean, I think ChatGPT is there to kind of help you create more content and kind of develop ideas. But I think we're going to see people want to have that human interaction. So it's going to be, I think we're still going to see a lot of video content, a lot of audio content, a lot of kind of face-to-face or like also like perspectives on Google, this kind of thing. So I think that social media is going to be like continue to be a big part of marketing over the next 5 years. Yeah.
Got it. I think, yeah, exactly. So the next 5 years, things are too dynamic. Weekly, we have new takes on these models and new products come in. I think image and videos will be key. They are able to generate reality videos or images. Images, I guess, with their videos with there, I think it solve a lot of use cases, e-commerce to a lot of content marketing, ads, online film production costs will go down, stuff like that. Isabella, any predictions? What is the segment in 5 years? What are the opportunities that are coming up? How would people connect with brands and even other people?
Yeah, I think Tim said, I don't know in 3 months. It's true. We don't know what's going to happen in the next near future, let alone the next 5 years. I do think that for the immediate future, though, the marketing scene is going to be affected by AI-powered marketers. And this is just something that we can't really go to sleep on. A lot of people are afraid that their jobs are on the line. I think it's 8 out of 10 jobs are on the line. 300 million people are about to be unemployed or could be unemployed because of AI, and these are all things that are popping up on the news. So instead of diving into the fear, it's more of well, if we know that AI is making such a big impact, and we know that even the CEO of Google has said that this is the most profound discovery in humanity since the discovery of fire, then it's we should pay attention to this, right? We should, everyone that's in here is paying attention to it, and it's not just learning, but it's also execution, right? You have to implement, and if you don't implement, there's no wrong answer. You can't put a wrong prompt and ChatGPT is not gonna implode. So you can just test it, try it. It's free to use. There's really no excuse. So yeah, just be proactive with it, because we're gonna see a rise in AI-powered marketers, and I've already experienced that by myself right now. There is a higher demand when you say that you use AI in your processes. There is I can't even tell you how many sales calls I've gotten where they don't even care how we're using AI. They just want to hear that we're using AI. It's such a big skill, and it's such a big novelty thing to know right now. And you wait 6 months, you wait a year, you're gonna fall behind. This is what happens for everything that has happened in the last 10 years with crypto and NFTs and the Web3 space. Everything evolves really, really fast, and it's right now we're very fortunate that we're ahead of the curve, and we're still very early on this.
Sure.
Even with fire, Isabella, you said fire, and other clans who couldn't get the fire going, they were not as competitive as the clan that had the fire going, right? So it's the same idea, And I love, Isabella, when you said free to use, there's no excuse. I think that's your tagline of today. That was awesome. And one thing I want to add, Ankur, before I have to find my next flight, because if not, then I'm gonna miss it. We can't predict 5 years, absolutely not. That, what was it, a month or 2 months ago when we had that couple of weeks that everybody just kept bringing new technologies that we were blown away. We didn't know what's going on. That's gonna keep happening. My best prediction in 5 years is that I'm still alive, and that I'm still using AI tools, and that I'm better at what I do because I have these AI tools. That's my best prediction that I have for the next 5 years, and I can't tell you more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've overshot on time. I think this is a great ending thoughts, the conclusion from everyone, how the industry they think would be there, and why AI and all the LMs are super important, and there is a gravity in terms of adoption from users, as well as there are developments happening at the same time. So the moment in technology is even bigger than iPhone. A lot of people have mentioned that. Gone back in time, said it's even bigger than or as big as Fire, if not bigger. So yeah, I think it's been great. It's great time to build right now, and I think we could take more questions. So let's set the links to the social media profiles of our panel speakers. Please reach out to us or them directly to ask any particular question you have in the AI space and marketing, or just reach out to them to know more about the product. Happy to host you and talk to you. I'm there on LinkedIn and Twitter. People are there on LinkedIn. We'll share the links. And just a quick plugin, we're launching something called AutoGPT plugins tomorrow. So AutoGPT is a way where you can give LLMs or ChatGPT a particular task, and in a series of steps, it is able to execute that particular task. In a lot of cases, right now, coming to results which are usable. It's a early stage product. So like ChatGPT plugins, if you integrate different tools to AutoGPT, you can give it access to search, Wikipedia, Zapier, etc. So it will be able to connect those and find information which is usable. If you're running it from terminal, you can execute programs as well. So do check that out. I think Sneha will share the link. Thanks, Catherine, Isabella, Tim. It was great having you. A lot of learning from me as well as our guest on our video podcast. Thanks everyone for joining in. We'd love to have you again and discuss this. This was awesome. Let's do it again some other time. Thanks, Tim, doing this directly from the airport.
Bye-bye. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, everybody. That was awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me as well.
Thanks for joining in. It was a pleasure to host you. Thanks.